Now, another thing to lose fat is when you do interval cardio training. Let's say you start at level 5, okay, you do 1 minute at level 5. Then the next minute you go to level 6, then level 7, level 8, level 9, and then you go back down again to level 5. Then level 6. So you increase the strength on your machine, whatever it is you're doing, so that it gets harder and harder, and you go up in resistance and then down again, up in resistance and down and up in resistance, and you only have to do it for like 20 minutes, and it's going to be 3 times as effective as if you did, let's say, an hour on the same kind of level. Now, it will also increase your pulse, okay? And your pulse, ideally, what I found when you burn the most fat is not between 120 and 140, what most people teach. It is actually between, let's say, 140 and 150, so a little bit higher. So have a little bit of a higher pulse and do intervals up and down in resistance, and that's going to make a huge difference. Now, there is people who say, oh, I've always weighed 150 pounds, and I'm always 150 pounds, and I'm the same weight for the last 20 years. Yeah, but you look different, okay? And the reason why is because your body mass is made out of muscles and bones and so forth, and also of fat, okay? So what you want to make sure is, let's say you go on a scale. The weight on the scale doesn't really matter. You don't want to lose just 20 pounds. No. You want to, let's say, lose 30 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle, for example. So what you should do at first is you should look at your weight, and you should buy yourself a special scale where you determine how much body fat percentage do you really have. Okay, let's say you have 20% of fat, and let's say you're 100 kilos, okay, or 200 pounds, for example. Now, if you're 100 kilos, I'm going to use it because it's easier to talk about it. Let's say you're 100 kilos, so you have 80 kilos, which is muscles, okay, and bones and so forth, and you have 20 kilos where you have fat. Now, if you want to, let's say, lose fat and increase muscle, you could say, I want to lose 10% or 10 kilos of fat, and I want to increase your muscle or your muscle mass by 10% or by 10 kilos. So in the end, you're still going to be 100 kilos, so it's going to be exactly the same, but the way you look or how much fat you have towards how much muscle mass you have has changed. So now you have 90 kilos of muscle and 10 kilos of fat. So your body fat is only 10%, okay? So that's how you say it. But the weight doesn't really change. The weight stays the same. So don't go on the scale just to think, oh, I'm going to lose weight. Most important is the difference between fat and muscle and how much percentage you have. Now, I told you earlier that I believe in having a cheat day, where you can eat, let's say, pizza or hamburgers or whatever you like to eat. But you should cut out the crap. And what do I mean by that? I mean, let's say, gummy bears, marshmallows, cookies, cake, stuff like that that don't really have any nutritional value, and they're not really good for you. They're really unhealthy, generally speaking, and they're really processed, okay? So you should get rid of those things anyway, but especially during the first 3 months when you try to change your whole physique. Now, when it comes to supplements and vitamins, I would recommend having vitamin C, 3 grams per day or 3,000 milligrams per day, which is great, and magnesium, okay, about 1,000 milligrams of magnesium per day. And then also you can add BCAAs, which are amino acids, glutamine, and B12. And that's really what you need to kind of support your body and your functions. And there's a lot more you could do, but that's just the basics. Now, the most important thing for your muscles or for your body is water. Okay, so because your muscles or your body is mainly made out of water, so you should drink a lot of water. And for a man, it should be about 3-4 liters or a gallon per day. okay? And for women, it's a little bit less, but in general, you should drink all the time because your body needs the water, needs to get rid of toxins, needs to get rid of fat, and in order to build muscle. So water is the most important thing throughout the day. Now, instead of eating 3 large meals per day, you should eat 6 smaller meals. And the way you should do it is you should have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And in between, let's say for 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and at night at 9 o'clock, you should have a protein shake of 30 to 40 grams of protein. So you need to have 6 smaller meals. And the reason why is because first of all, you don't want to be super full and have no energy. But second of all, the more smaller meals you eat, the higher your metabolism and the more your body can burn fat. Okay? And so if you eat more frequently, it will actually help you to lose weight. Being on a diet doesn't mean not eating. And if you stop eating, let's say you only eat once a day or you are hungry all the time, then what will your body do? Your body will think, oh my God, we're in a period of starvation. Now I need to store whatever comes my way, and it will store it into fat for leaner times. Because your body is still like 1,000,000 years old, where it doesn't know that you can walk over the street into the store and buy whatever foods you want to buy. So your body still functions in that, oh, if there's leaner times, we're going to store more fat. But if I constantly get food, I don't need to store all that food, okay, because I keep getting it. So you need to trick your body, okay, because otherwise, if you try to hunger, if you try to starve yourself, it's a fight that you will lose, okay? So trying to be hungry is not going to work. You're going to do the opposite of what you're actually trying to achieve. In general, I would avoid bread or dairy products. Dairy products are going to blow you up, okay? Because we humans aren't really built for dairy. But also bread, because lots of breads, they are too much carbohydrates. They're processed. They're not really helpful whatsoever. And sometimes all you need to do, okay, you don't need to change too much. But if you cut out bread completely and you cut out dairy products, and you replace, let's say, soda drinks with water, just that alone, without any exercise or whatever, you're going to make a huge difference in how much weight you will lose and how much better you will feel. Now, one thing that, because you have to eat so much and all the time, I would recommend the following thing. Each night, prepare your meals into little Tupperware containers. So you cook and you measure your stuff, you know how much you're getting of each food type, and you prepare them into Tupperware containers so that the next day you don't have to think too much, you just follow through, you just eat whatever you've prepared the night before. So that's really, really helpful. Now, how do you lose weight? There's a really basic math, okay? So let's say your body, in order to function, to maintain its temperature and the blood flow and so forth, needs, let's say, 2,000 calories a day. Now, the way you're going to lose weight is by reducing the amount of calories you consume each day and by increasing the amount of calories that you burn, okay? So let's say you eat instead of 2,000 calories, you only eat 1,500 calories, and you, let's say, burn 500 calories at the gym, then you're going to have a negative balance, so to speak, which means your body requires more energy, and you will lose weight. It's as simple as that, okay? Now, what I found is that people who plan are 4 times more successful than people who don't plan. So if you want to be successful at anything, but especially at, let's say, bodybuilding or getting into shape, you need to set a goal. And the way you do this is you say, okay, today I'm, let's say, 100 kilos or whatever it is, and you want to lose, let's say, 10 kilos, but you don't want to just lose 10 kilos. You want to lose fat, and you want to gain muscle. So you calculate what is your current body fat percentage. You make a goal for the body fat percentage, and you make a goal for the muscle mass that you want to increase. So you set a date and you say, okay, for the next 12 weeks, this is what I'm going to do. And you plan each day. And the way I would do it is I would have your weight training broken up into 3 days. Let's say day number 1 is where you do chest training. Okay, you focus on your chest. And let's say chest and triceps, okay? And then some cardio. Day number 2 is when you do your back, shoulders, and biceps. And day number 3, plus cardio, of course, and day number 3 is where you focus on your abs and your legs, okay? Mainly on your legs, okay? Legs and calves. And plus some cardio, again. So only 20 minutes of cardio. So you break it down. You have day 1, day 2, day 3. Each time you have 20 minutes of cardio right after your workout. And you do this 6 times a day. So let's say you work out your muscle twice a week, okay? Then how much should you work out? Now, in my opinion, you should have per muscle group, let's say per chest, for chest. You have 3 exercises and you have 4 sets per exercise. So in total, 12 reps, 12 sets, okay, in total. And the repetitions, I would recommend something like this. You start with like 12 to 15, then about 10 to 12, then about 8 to 10, and finally about 6. Let's talk about steroids, okay? There's a lot of people who take steroids. And in my past, I have to admit, I tried it as well, especially during my bodybuilding years. But I can tell you this, steroids is something that would really harm your health. And it can really do a number has a lot of consequences that are not good for you, okay? So I wouldn't recommend it. But also, and here's what you need to know, especially a young man. When you work out and you think with steroids are going to do the trick, steroids alone are not going to do the trick. If you don't focus on your nutrition and you focus on your exercise, then you're not going to gain weight just because of or gain muscle because of the steroids. So steroids can maybe change 10-20% of the overall success, but 70%, and mark my words, 70% of your success will depend on your nutrition. And here's an interesting thing. Your abs, let's say you want a nice six-pack, your abs are not done at the gym, they're done in the kitchen. So if you eat right and you do it the right way, you will lose fat because everybody has abs already. You have the muscle already there. So if you want to have a six-pack, you need to make sure that you work on increasing muscle and decreasing fat. And the way you do it is through your food, through nutrition. Now, let me summarize the most important rules one more time. Okay, so 50% of your nutrition should come from proteins. Keep your carbohydrates intake very low. Have 0 carbs after 5 p.m. Eat most of your carbs after your workout. Do cardio in the morning on an empty stomach. Cut out all the bad foods like sweets and junk food and so forth for at least 3 months. Don't drink any alcohol for, let's say, 3 months. Eat protein as the last meal before you go to sleep. Add more vegetables to your diet. So let's say you have a plate, and typically when you go to a restaurant, you get, let's say, a steak and you get some French fries. Now, the way you should do it is like this. You should replace the French fries with vegetables or salad. Let's say you have a piece of chicken and you get noodles. Well, what should you do? Replace the noodles with salad or vegetables. Or you eat fish and you have rice next to it. Well, what should you do? You should replace the rice, let's say, if it's in the evening, with vegetables or salad. Now, you can eat, like the perfect diet, so to speak, would be to have a little bit of protein, a little bit of rice, not too much, about the size of your fist, or your hand, inside without the fingers, and vegetables. That would be, let's say, an ideal meal for lunch, and for you can have it for dinner if it's an early dinner. Okay. Now, what else is important? You should commit to a plan for at least 3 months and follow through. Consistency is more important. Then you should set a specific fat loss goal and don't worry too much about the weight on the scale. And 80% of your training should be weight training with heavy weights, okay? And if you want to add cardio, do that about 20 minutes or so after your heavy weight training. Avoid foods that are carb and fat, like, cake, for example. That's like a bomb, a calorie bomb, at all costs. Drink at least 2, I would say 3 protein shakes per day throughout the day. Have 6 smaller meals instead of 3 larger meals. Read the labels at the back of each food that you're considering to eat first before you're eating it, so you know what you're eating. Avoid bread and avoid dairy products. Prepare your meals in advance with Tupperware containers. Plan your cheat day in advance, let's say once a week, whatever you like. Remember that 70% of your success is based on your nutrition. It depends on your nutrition. So too many carbohydrates will make you fat. And remember, people who plan are 4 times as successful as people who don't plan. Then also measure your body fat and your weight every single day with that scale. Okay, so you know if you're making progress or no progress. And obviously be determined and work on your goal, and I wish you all the best. Now, what is the motivation for most people to get into shape? Obviously, it is to be attractive, to attract the opposite sex, okay? So some people get their heart broken. And it sounds initially like a negative event, but getting your heart broken is probably the strongest motivator to go exercise and to get into shape. So if that ever happens to you, what do most people do? They start to lose weight, they get active, they go to the gym, and they get into the best shape of their lives. So sometimes getting your heart broken helps you to get into shape. Obviously, I don't want to, make you feel bad or anything like that, but just remember, what is your motivation to get into shape? And if you have a reason why you want to get into shape, because maybe it is lack of love, maybe it has been rejection or something like that, but those are really, really strong reasons or motivator for you to follow through on your plan. So if you want to find the love of your life, sometimes the starting point is to go to the gym, to work out, to work on your physique. And if you do that, well, you know what? It's going to lead to more happiness. So do your best and follow through and have a motivation to get into shape.